Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Vicki Chats podcast. I have two very special guests in the studio with me today. Today, we are thrilled to welcome Anita Russ, the executive director of the Waterloo Community Playhouse and Blackhawk Children's Theater, two organizations that are not only cornerstones of the local art scene, but also safe havens for creativity, collaboration, and community. Anita brings more than just leadership to her role. She brings heart, deeply invested in making the arts accessible to everyone. Anita is known for championing inclusion, fostering opportunities for young people in all aspects of theater, and creating a place where people feel like they truly belong, whether it's giving kids a place to lead backstage or welcoming volunteers to paint sets. Anita's passion is rooted in people. An advocate for the transformative power of live performance and a proud ambassador of all things Waterloo, Anita believes in the magic that happens when people come together on stage and behind the scenes. Welcome, Anita.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure and an honor. And this is Alan Malone, the artistic director of the Waterloo Community Playhouse and Blackhawk Children's Theater. Alan is a storyteller through and through, with a career that spanned the country, from the vibrant stages of Chicago, New York, to touring productions across the U.S. With training in the Meisner technique, stage combat, and classical performance, Alan brings a wealth of experience and a creative spark to every project he touches. In addition to his impressive resume, he's a hands-on educator, director, and actor dedicated to igniting a passion for theater in the next generation. When Alan's not immersed in rehearsals, you might find him camping under the stars, cooking over an open fire, or catching up on the latest in Formula One racing. Alan is a creative force and one who understands that great theater doesn't just entertain, it connects, challenges, and inspires. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Vicki. Great to be here.
Pleasure and an honor. Okay, so what originally drew you both to theater? Was there a specific moment or production that lit that spark?
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Well, I remember in 1976 when my community theater in my little town did 1776.
Oh,
and
yay!
I wanted to go because I was so into the bicentennial. I was so deeply into
Cute.
the bicentennial. But my mom and dad thought it was too much. They really thought that it would be too much for me because I was only 9 or 10.
Oh,
so I didn't get to go see it, but the next year, I can't remember what show they did, I did get to go see that, and I was like, wow, people can do that. And then I realized it's like, those are people that I know.
yeah.
And so a few years later, my brother then drugged me to a rehearsal because he was in love with a girl. My older brother drugged me to a rehearsal from that same community theater, and I auditioned and got in, and sort of the rest is history.
Oh, yes,
but, you know, there is truly a theater bug, and once it bites, it never sort of gets out of your soul.
I love that so much. Alan?
Well, I think while the very first sort of moment was back in second grade when I did Little Fairy Tale, Elves and the Shoemaker.
Oh,
and
cute.
I didn't really want to necessarily do it because we had to sort of make our own costumes and parents would help at the time.
Yes.
So my mom ended up making, I played the prince that walks into the store at one point, and she made these cones that went on the top of a pair of slippers that curled, and I thought they looked absolutely ridiculous. And when I went on stage and everybody laughed, all of a sudden I heard that sort of response from the audience, and that sort of really brought me back in future productions.
Oh, wow, I love that.
But I think over the years, it's really depended on the group of people that I've been around. Mm-hmm. A lot of the reason is that, you know, you end up meeting a new group of people that have a different set of influences.
Yes.
And that has changed over the years. So I had friends in Chicago, and then when I was an apprentice in the Actors Theater of Louisville in Kentucky for a year. That group of friends were very strong, very influential. We also met with other theater groups like City Company, which was very influential because of very physical movement and training. And then Anita as well. I've met Anita, who was influential in the Black Hawk Children's Theater and the way that she worked with kids, with adults. So all of those influences have really sort of been defining at different times that I've worked.
Oh, I love that so much. It's beautiful. So, who's been the biggest influence in your creative or professional journey?
I had a professor when I was undergrad who I didn't go to school to study theater because I grew up in a conservative Midwestern sort of town, and
Right.
so like you don't do that because you need to get a good job,
A real job.
a real job.
I get it.
And there were two people, and the first was a professor who I took an acting 101 class, or actually it was theater 101 class. It was a theater 101 class, and we were doing something the first day, and he was watching all of us do something, and he taught another class. He taught the beginning acting class for theater majors, and he said, "Yeah, you don't belong in this class. You're gonna go to that class." And so that idea of oh, you're somehow a little step up from all of these other people was wow, that's interesting. I never had experienced that before.
Oh my gosh, how exciting.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then the second one was years later. I remember the moment vividly.
Yeah.
I worked as a school media specialist. I was a librarian for several years. So that was my real job.
Okay.
And I did a production of Twelfth Night, a Shakespeare Twelfth Night, and I played Mariah in the show, and it was such a great experience.
Yes.
And the director at the time was studying to be a professional director, and we're standing on this hill. It's this beautiful sunny day, and he looked at me and he says, "Anita, you're not really going to spend the rest of your life being a librarian, are you?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "You're really good." He said, "You're a joy to work with, and you should really think about doing this professionally." And so that was the seed. And so I was like, "Oh, can I do that?" So
how cool is that? Yes, I love it.
I can still hear his voice. You're not really thinking about being a librarian for the rest of your life.
I love that.
That's actually really weird because my biggest influence is very similar, but also the complete opposite. Simply because it's a teacher,
yes,
Eileen Vorbach, who was at the Actors Theater, Actor Center in Chicago, which was a Meisner-based studio, and you would go through sort of that system of learning, which I really enjoyed. But my very first class, I wasn't able to get into the regular class, and I had met with her, and she allowed me to take this audition class, which was normally taken after the technique classes, and I was very new to it. And I went in and I had a piece prepared, and it was the Telltale Heart from Poe. And I had the end of it where he goes and he hears the beating heart and he pulls up the floorboards, and there I'm acting my heart out. And I'm throwing a chair across the room and pretending to dig up the floorboards. And I finish it, and she turns around and goes, "Yeah, don't ever do that again." And,
oh my God!
She was like, "It's not a right piece for you." And then she qualified it as far as you're too young to be doing that piece. Find something else. And I worked with her for 3 years, and then she turned around. She was like, "Okay, you can't take classes anymore. Go out, audition, put yourself out there, and and then if you want to continue to take classes, come back after you've done some shows." But we're done dealing with you. And it's like they determine we're not taking your money anymore for classes. Go out and work.
Yes, go out
and
work.
If you want to continue sort of training after that, once you learn something more, then come on back. So that was one of my biggest influences.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I love it so much. So, who's been the biggest influences in your creative or professional journey?
I thought we just answered that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm bad. I need my coffee. Okay, so what is your personal mission statement, the why behind what you do?
Oh, yeah.
The why.
Well, I really I really love to help people find their voice. And so the volunteers we bring in, the kids that audition, or the kids that come to classes, like helping them to get that step up. And there's no easier way to say this. Like, you get to find your voice.
Yes.
You get to find your strengths. You get to find the things that inspire you. Because I think that if you think about it in building, like, I think you build great individuals by helping them to understand themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these things help them to understand themselves. And one of them that we don't talk about in schools, because I was in the schools, is like, what brings you joy?
Oh,
and, you know, and those are things that when you deal with the artistic
Mhm.
world, you know, they find their voice, they find their joy,
Yes,
like,
right.
and you mine those things and you become more complete as a human being.
Oh,
I think it's really important.
Yes.
I think to complement that, one of the questions that I'm always asking is, what is the audience walking away with?
Right.
That's always been important to me, whether it was an actor, and especially as a director, is that audience is giving up their time, their money to be able to come see a show.
Right.
What are they looking for, and what are we producing on stage
Yes.
that they can walk away with going, yes, I want to return to that. I want to see more of that.
Oh.
I want to recommend seeing a
Right.
show.
Right.
And I don't ever want anybody feeling that they're wasting their time.
Right.
So, you know, I want to make sure that everybody, whether you're on stage, whether you're a crew member, a production team member, that everything is moving towards what are we doing to give the best experience for an audience.
Oh, that's just beautiful. My first performance, I was a penguin in kindergarten. And my mother worked at a very important job. You all know her as Mama T, Inspiration with Mama T, sponsored by Perkins. So she had a very important job. She says, Vicki, I probably can't come to the play, but I'll do my best. And I'm watching my little watch, and I'm like, where is she? Where is she? She walks in. She's, so beautiful and stately. And she just has her red scarf. She throws the red scarf back, show me your little play. And I'm this penguin. She's like, she loved it. So how has your view of success evolved since you began your career in the arts?
There's the Beckett quote that we hear in the arts all the time, that you try, you fail, you try again, and fail better. And I was young the first time I heard it, and you can go, oh yeah, I get that. But I do think that my perception of and perspective about success has changed in much that same way. Like, it's not the number of times you fall down, it's the number of times you get back up.
Yes.
And there have been shows that you start out and you think this is going to be a winner.
Right.
And then you get to opening night and you went, I have no idea. We were all working. We were all going along the same way. And somehow things just kind of got off the rails and it didn't quite get there.
Oh.
I mean, we've always, but we all try again.
Yeah.
And that's, and it's the same, even with it, auditions. Like, I mean, I worked professionally for several years, and the number of auditions you go to compared to the number of roles you actually get cast in is like it's like 5%.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, it's unbelievable, but you just keep going and you just keep grinding and you learn every single time. And I think that what my perspective of success is, how much did I learn in this moment? What can I take away from this that I either won't make the mistake again, or I'll see the mistake coming, see the challenge coming along so that I can overcome it.
I love that.
It's funny to do a callback to my influential teacher, Eileen. She would tell me, for every 30 auditions that you do, you would get cast once. Be prepared for that ratio.
Oh my gosh.
And for every 100 jobs that you end up doing, one will be the best experience ever. So it's sort of like that was sort of taught to me very, very young when I was up and coming. But I think for me, the success has changed dramatically. I've been with the Playhouse for just over 2 years, and all of the other productions, I was sort of a freelancer, or it was a volunteer basis when I was coming in.
Okay.
And now there is a financial sort of dollar
Yes.
mark on there for that show, and choices that we end up making has sort of turned around. And I think it's also coming out of the pandemic more, which is the fact that, you know, the types of theater has changed, the way people look at theater has changed. So that sort of financial success has changed my own personal sort of views on it, because before it was, let's put on a great show and have everybody do a wonderful job, and we're trying to get across this piece of art.
Yes.
And now the piece of art is sort of changing, and it's like it's got to meet certain standards because we've got to be able to hit a bottom line.
Yes.
So that has sort of changed for me a little bit.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't know how you deal with those odds. You know, 1 in 100 jobs you'll have. Yeah.
Just a wonderful time, yeah. Because a lot of the time you walk in, and Alec Baldwin actually said it, where a lot of the time they'll be like, hey, come on this cruise. All of these people are coming, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what's on the boat, and this is what we'll be doing. And then you leave the port, and everybody goes, oh yeah, those people they're not on the boat.
Oh.
And no, those games are not there, and that chef isn't there to cook your food.
Wow.
And now you're stuck with this, and you're left on a boat out in the middle of the ocean, and that's what you've got.
With an iceberg around the corner.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like there are times when you're locked into it, and it's like it's not going to go anywhere, and that can happen, and that's why it's sort of an art versus a science. There's a way of putting it together, but the art side of it, you know, you never know if it's going to end up the same way.
Right. What's one behind the scenes role in the theater that you think deserves more recognition?
I don't know if we have the same one. Do we have the same one?
I don't know. We didn't compare answers. I have two.
Okay.
I have two because but the first one is stage managers. So 2 of my best friends are stage managers.
Really?
Yeah. And or they were stage managers, and this is like I've come to appreciate a good stage manager from very early on. But there's they just get so much grief from in the middle. Like they get it from from all sides. Everybody's and they have to be so phenomenal. And like I said, 2 of my best friends were stage managers, and they are phenomenal people. Just how they take care of people and take care of the art, and it is pretty cool. But my other one is costumers and costume designers.
Yeah.
I have worked in so many different fields and so many different areas, and they always stick them in the basement, first of all.
Oh, no.
I was so shocked. The costume designers are always in the basement.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the degree of their technical ability, like you think, oh, it's just a shirt, but it's more than that. It's an artistic idea, and and how not anybody can sew.
Right.
You know, it's not just something somebody can walk in and do. Like their training and their vision. So I think that those 2 areas in particular.
Costume was mine. Yeah, costume designer was definitely mine, just because I think, you know, people don't really think about the fact that you've got not only, say, 20 people in the cast, but 15 of those people are playing multiple roles with multiple costumes, and they've got to be able to not only look the period, not only be able to help tell that story of where you are, what time of day, the social sort of level of those characters, but then also be able to turn around and move in them as, you know, dancers, or fighters. I mean, we're doing 3 Musketeers right now, so I've got 20 people that have to sword fight in costume that look period, but able to move. But then on top of that, some of them have to be able to do quick changes, and the clothes have got to be able to withstand multiple shows over and over again of being taken off, thrown around, thrown to the side, put back on, and stuff like that. So I think that costume designer was definitely my choice, although I never even thought about stage managers. So maybe stage manager is the one.
Yes. So in your experience, what impact does community theater have that larger commercial productions might miss?
Well, I think Alan kind of touched on one, in that a larger production house is going to need make sure that they have a financial, and we still have to do that, but to a lesser degree.
Okay.
But I think more importantly than that, I think that we welcome everybody. if you walk through the door to audition, I'm going to take your audition seriously.
Yes.
And so, and I think sometimes people don't really feel like, oh, it's just a show, you know, and I can't be here all these days. And I go, well, I also can't cast you because I have 40 other people who are willing to give up their time.
Exactly.
And be here and spend the time to make the best piece of art we can all make together.
Right.
And so it's that idea of anybody can walk in. You will be taken seriously. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if it's the first show you've ever been in or the 100th show you've ever been in. You're welcome. Come and join us.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I'm pleased, like, even if it's the 100th show you've ever been in, it may mean you don't get cast this time because I got somebody who's never done this before. And I want to give them a shot.
Exactly.
So I think that idea of like, we get to work with veterans and rookies and bring everybody into that fold is really important to me. And I think that's something that community theater can do well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to go off of that is the fact that people are seeing people in their own community with that level of talent.
Right.
And it's a wonderful sort of experience, I think. And I think people have sort of forgotten about that to a certain degree. I think the Black Hawk Children's Theater allows that to sort of has grown over the years, that people will support the kids, and then, you know, kids see their classmates in shows and they go, oh, maybe I can go do that. And they have a reason to be able to do it. Right. I don't know if our adult side of the theater, WCP, has that same support to the same degree, where people in the community sort of continue to come back and see some of those people who are really talented, give up a lot of time, love doing this, be able to sort of tell those stories.
Exactly.
And then, you know, sometimes it does bring in new people, but and then also at the same time, community theater, it does a lot locally for the local economy.
Yes.
So that helps out. If you have a show that is coming in from outside, a touring show, they're going to take that money and then leave and go on to another city, and that money will then get sort of used in that regard. But any money that comes in, we're going to be using it to support local businesses to help fund our next shows, to be able to buy products for the next shows, to be able to buy materials and stuff that we need to help build sets and everything like that. So it does help the economy, the local economy as well.
So how do you approach choosing productions that both challenge and engage the audiences?
I love that it's both challenge and engage. It's not, and it's not just the audiences; it's also the actors. Because we do have a pretty deep pool of actors in the area, and so we want to find the work that is interesting for the audience to see, but also the actors to do. And so it's always a mix, and it's always you know, my mentor here is Chuck Stillwell, and he's like
thinking about him throughout this whole time. Let's give him a shout out. We love him, Chuck. We love you.
And so Chuck always says, when you find the magic formula, you know, this is years and years and years to do it. But he said, when you find the magic formula for how to choose a season, let me know.
That's pretty good.
Because it is a fine balance. Like the audiences. Now our audiences want to be able to know name recognition. So we always have to balance like newer shows that people may not know.
Right.
With, the shows that have become sort of the workhorses. So like this season we're finishing up right now. I'm in rehearsal for The Sound of Music.
Yes.
So I'm super excited about it. And
for
for the first time in a lot of years, we have a full live orchestra working along with us. So that's beautiful. It's a long time since we've had that. But in the spring, we did a show called Head Over Heels. Fun, awesome cast, beautifully done. Not many people came to see it because people didn't know the title.
Well known,
It wasn't really as well known.
Sure.
But then it was a really great experience for our actors on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Because they got to explore a newer production. It was a rock. It's based on the music of the Go-Go's. If you remember the Go-Go's.
Yes,
so all of the songs in there are these like musical theatered. I think I just verbed that word, but musical theater versions of Go-Go songs.
Nice.
And so that having that rock sort of thing is different for some of our performers. So it's a really amazing way to give them more experience.
Wow.
So it's always, as we choose, it's always balancing those things.
I love that. So what's been your proudest moment or most unexpected success so far?
I think for me, I was the Hawkeye drama director for 4 years at Hawkeye Community College, and that was my first sort of professional gig here. And I
Sweet.
ended up doing a show called Waiting for Lefty, which was by Clifford Odets, which was a big sort of group theater, another sort of influence, personal influence. That was a bucket list show. I had always wanted to direct that show. It was about a taxi union in the 1930s, and that's when it was written, and
I love
a
it.
really sort of pivotal moment in American theater history and the group theater, which sort of had a number of performers and directors that have defined modern American theater. But we ended up doing that at Hawkeye Community College at a time when Occupy Wall Street was going on. The Wisconsin Teachers Union was being broken. So there was a lot of in the news about that similar sort of social topics that were going on.
Right.
And to be able to do that at a time. And one of the things we did was have the actors who played sort of union members come in with the audience. They filtered out around the back of the building and came in with them, and were sitting in the house with them. So that when they started arguing back and forth, it put the audience in a situation where they were in this union hall meeting. And so I was very proud of that, and especially with a group of kids from the community college that didn't necessarily know that show particularly well, but to work on something that was so pivotal. So that was definitely one for me.
I think it's there are a couple of them. The first one is Shakespeare. On a whim, I said, "Hey, let's do Shakespeare in the park." So we went out to the Arboretum and we did Shakespeare, and we toured it around a couple other places. But we just finished 10 years of doing Shakespeare in the park because it's taken off. Now I have these actors that wait for it. Like what are you doing this year? And audience members that wait for it. So that's lovely. The other thing, which is still in its infancy in a lot of ways, is I work with the Waterloo schools, and we do what we call Next Gen.
Wonderful.
And we work with the middle schools, and I just had my first meeting with Hoover yesterday.
Yay!
I
love Hoover.
So the kids that one of the challenges we have in our community is that, number one, not everybody knows about us, but also that for whatever reason, there's a lot of families that can't get their kids to rehearsal. So they don't, or they don't have time in their schedule to be involved in a full production. But it goes back to that. What is my purpose? There's my why.
Right.
Connecting with these kids. Yes. And they get to write and direct and design, and then they perform their plays. So they write 10 to 12 minute plays.
I love that.
And we put them on in our stage. And so they get that whole experience. And it's every year we get a couple kids that figure out how to get involved with us. Every year we get a couple kids that, that was the best experience of their middle school career or whatever.
So beautiful.
So it
just continued back into, they come and find a way to get to the theater.
Yeah, they do.
In future shows and stuff. So they've stuck around with it. Yeah.
So it's really, it goes back to that's my purpose. And I had my first meeting yesterday. It was so much fun and so chaotic.
I'm sure.
It was interesting. The kids were like, it's so much. I'm like, yeah, but you guys are doing a good job. And this brainstorming place where we are, this is art.
Yes.
This is part of art.
Exactly.
So that was really cool.
I love that you're working with Waterloo schools. That is so cool. So what's something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, gosh.
I don't know about me. I don't have any specific thing where it's like, oh, yeah, you swam with sharks or anything like that. I don't have anything like that.
Right.
So it would be up to the individual if they found out something, I guess.
Oh yeah,
I am that sort of boring.
I
doubt it.
He's really not. I saw this question. I don't know. I make a really good chocolate chip cookie. That's not really surprising,
Yummy.
I quilt and I do I crochet and I quilt, and I'm like, that's not surprising.
It is though. It is.
And so I was thinking about all the things that I do. So I'm not going to throw some more things out here.
I guess a lot of people may not know that I'm originally from Dublin, Ireland.
There you go.
So that might be a surprise for people who
so
have just met
cool.
me. Yeah, so,
Yes.
so I don't have the same sort of accent that I used to. I've been living over here much longer than I was in Ireland, but yeah.
That's so cool. I love it. All right, sweet. So, would you guys have any pet peeves? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, I think mine, and this would be a theater one as well as sort of a regular everyday one.
Yeah.
They are essentially the same thing, which is just really loud chatter around me.
Of course.
So, within theater, it's always very distracting if people are in the house during a rehearsal or backstage, and I can hear it while people are working on stage. But I think at any other job that I've worked, if I was working in a cubicle and then the people next to me were way too loud for too long,
of course,
it's just really rude and inconsiderate of what's going on. So I think that's the one that sort of pushes me over an edge when I turn around and I go, please stop.
Right.
So,
stop.
Yeah.
And you say, please?
So I start with please.
And with something else.
I don't end with please.
I think mine is I've one for one for real life and then the one for the theater world. But my one, litterers. People who litter like that drives me absolutely batty. Like I get it. There's not a trash can handy.
Yeah.
Please do not throw it on the ground.
Right, exactly.
And my theater ones, people. This goes back to the costumer thing.
Yeah.
Do not eat in costume.
Yeah.
Do not eat in costume.
Yeah.
And I think that every time I talk to my actors about this, go, oh, there's Anita again. We get it. And they're like, then why are you eating a donut?
Right.
There's a reason for that.
There's always a reason. So if you could have dinner with any artist, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I have a big table.
Yeah.
Mine would be an actor called Stephen Root.
Okay.
Who I think everybody probably doesn't know the name, but has definitely seen. It's the actor that plays Jimmy James, who's the eccentric radio host in news radio. And then also Milton from Office Space. So there's definitely sort of Gen X connection with the swing line stapler.
There you go, yes.
Everybody's been in Man in the High Castle and West Wing and in a ton of movies.
For sure.
And Barry. But from the perspective of an actor who is just constantly working and hasn't ever reached sort of because I've never seen him on a talk show. I've never seen him brought into Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert, like The Late Show or anything like that.
Or Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. But is working all of the time, is a phenomenal sort of character actor that gets very deep into it.
Yes.
And I would be really interested in sort of having a discussion of like, what is that work that not only drives him, but is he always wondering about if he's going to break into a next level? Does he want to break into that next level? Does he want to become that stratosphere actor of sort of Philip Seymour Hoffman and Tom Hanks, where it's like you're just known everywhere you go, because I don't think people even know the name as well as other actors. So that would be somebody that I really enjoy sort of talking to.
Fascinating. Yes.
Who's one of the 27 people that
some of my interesting early influences were actually musicians, so I Bono and Geddy Lee from Rush, but then I went back to Anne Bogart, and Alan talked about City Company. Anne Bogart started a company that was based very much in movement and how the movement can help tell the story can help tell the inner life of an actor, can help tell the story, but her perspective and her view on not just art, but art in the world and art as an artist, and then art as a woman
Yes.
Because there's still not a lot of women working at the level that she worked out there in the world.
Right, exactly.
And so I think that like her own struggles and her how it all came together would be really interesting to hear that whole thing.
Yes, that would be so fascinating. So we have a new season just announced.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. What are you most excited about?
I think I'm most excited about Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, Sweeney Todd. Yeah.
It's one of those that we're not entirely sure how it's going to sell.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bloody and it is a little a little gory.
Yeah.
But it's also an artist's dream.
Exactly.
Like there's so many musical theater people in our area that are super excited about doing it.
I saw it at the Gallagher Blue Dorn Performing Arts Center years ago, and it was fabulous. I cannot wait to see it again.
A beautiful show.
Yes, fabulous show. Yes, beautiful.
And then I think the other side of that is that it's going to be a challenge for our own staff, for our technical, because there's some pretty big technical demands in it.
Yes, exactly.
And those challenges are fun for us as well.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
But I'm excited about the whole season, not to dismiss the rest
all
of
of it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be directing it, so I'm really looking forward to directing Sondheim, which is just going to be sort of an amazing experience. And I think the production team that we've already started putting together is going to be amazing. But I'm gonna break the news unless you want to about the season itself.
Oh no, go ahead.
So I think one of the things that hasn't come out just yet is the fact that the Playhouse is going to sort of change our season from being calendar year back to being matched up with the sort of fiscal year, which is summer. So people realize, because we used to do it where the big opener was a summer musical.
Yes.
And that'll be Annie of next year.
Nice.
But we will be doing sort of a re-release of the next season going from Annie through the following summer.
Oh.
So we're going to change the season back. It sort of changed because of the pandemic, because there was a sort of a half season of shows out because of all the cancellations.
Yes.
And then we ended up sort of changing it back into that or changing it to the calendar year. And we've been sort of discussing with the board going back to that summer release and then going through until the next year. So that's going to be a big change. And you're going to hear about it like so much during the next couple of years. Like, here's a release and a release and a release.
Yeah, you gotta have new seasons.
Right.
But we're always sort of getting asked, is like, when are you releasing your new season? And it's like, well, we've just released our new season. So I don't think it ever really connected with our public, with our audiences, that we were going to a calendar year, and it always felt like we were 6 months behind.
Right.
But you could also look that we were 6 months ahead.
Yes.
And it just never stuck. So I think we've made the decision to change back. So
there you go.
I'm really excited because I think it sort of gets it back into a system along with the other theaters in the area that everybody will know. So that should be fun. So I think people will have to wait because there's still some shows for the fall of 26 plus the start of 27, because it'll be 26, 27 season that people will get to hear about. So
sweet.
Yeah, there's even shows that people haven't heard about from they've really only heard about a half season release.
Oh, so yeah, there you go.
So that'll be a fun change for everybody, I think.
Fun change for sure. All right, so how can our viewers contact you or find out what you're doing on social media or the web?
Our website is wluplayhouse.org.
Okay.
And we try to keep it pretty up to date. We're pretty excited because we're going to do some website renovations coming up.
Nice.
So we're super excited about that.
Cool.
And then Facebook and Instagram are always good places to go and find us. So
Sweet.
Waterloo Community Playhouse, Black Hawk Children's Theater, and both places.
There you go. Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Come
out and see us. Yeah. I mean, I think give our production teams, our casts, and our crew the opportunity to really entertain you. And I think art is always a risk, and it's not So one show may not work for you, but don't let that drive you away. Always come back and see something else, and always reach out and get in touch and say, hey, have you thought about this?
Ooh.
Because if this type of show, this genre of show,
right,
because we may be thinking about it, we may have something coming up, we may have discussed it,
yeah,
and we may have turned around and made the decision, well, we don't think that there's a lot of support there for it.
yeah.
So, but if we end up hearing, and I mean, I think to bring back Jimmy Kimmel, you end up hearing from the general public,
yes,
and people make end up
right.
changes. So the thing is, it's like a lot of the time you're always wondering, and we've met with individual donors to talk about what we could do differently, what would they like to see,
right?
And we're hoping to sort of set up forum to be able to do that. But reach out and say, hey, have you thought about this show? Sometimes we may have, and sometimes we go, well, I don't know about that. Would it really work? Could we really do that? So having that conversation back and forth, I think, is really important for art in general. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so
much.
Thank
you, Vicki. This has been
Vicki.
wonderful.
Oh, it's been such an honor and a pleasure. Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll have to come back and announce the new season 26, 27.
There we go. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Vicki.
Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, everybody.
And go to the theater. Yes.